Hi, my name is Marcia A, and I am the author of You'll Do, A History of Marrying for Reasons Other Than Love. As a child, I grew up hearing the story of my great Aunt Rosie's marriage and how marriage saved my great Uncle Saul's life. The story takes place in the 1930s. Rosie was working at a factory on the Lower East Side of Manhattan. Rosie, as well as most of her fellow employees, was Jewish, and they watched with increasing fear as the Nazis rose to power. Many of the factory's workers had family remaining in Europe, including Rosie's best friend. The friend's brother Saul was desperately trying to immigrate to the United States, but it was impossible. America's racially restrictive immigration laws drastically limited the number of Jewish immigrants permitted to enter the U.S., with one exception: marriage. Marriage to an American citizen allowed potential immigrants to bypass immigration restrictions and enter the country. So, after hearing of Saul's plight, Rosie decided to marry him and saved his life. As a child, I grew up hearing about Rosie and Saul. I was impressed by Rosie's bravery and charmed by the fact that this couple, who married under such horrific circumstances, ultimately fell in love and made a wonderful life together. At the same time, I was never able to shake the feeling that this was also a horror story. If Rosie hadn't married Saul, it is almost certain he would have been murdered. Marriage literally saved his life. However, Saul is far from alone in using marriage for instrumental reasons, and it was a desire to explore this use of marriage that led me to write You'll Do. In America, most of us have grown up with the idea that love is the only reason to marry. But this is odd, given the fact that we have created so many non-love reasons to wed. You'll Do examines the long history of attaching monetary, governmental, social, and legal incentives to marriage by telling the stories of the men and women who entered into these marital arrangements. It also explains the changing view of marriage, showing how over time, love became the only acceptable reason for marrying, and how non-love matches became taboo. The common criticism of marrying for reasons other than love is the idea that this corrupts the relationship. You'll Do questions this assumption and demonstrates why this concern is unfounded. At the same time, it reveals a different problem with these relationships. The book suggests that the true problem with a non-love match is that such marriages are typically a response to some other social problem, frequently economic, gender, or racial inequality. On an individual level, marriage can help overcome these injustices, but using marriage in this way can also exacerbate the problems. When marriage is touted as the solution, it absolves the government and society of the responsibility to address and alleviate these concerns itself. Ultimately, if we truly think marriage should be about love, then we need to stop giving people so many other reasons to marry. The fact that we haven't suggests that maybe love isn't actually the purpose of marriage. I'll leave it to you to decide whether you think that's a problem.